Dear ladies and gentlemen, greeting from Algeria. With a great pleasure to be part of this event, even remotely. Algeria is located in North Africa. On the top north, we will find the Mediterranean Sea. From the east side, there is Tunisia and Libya. From the south, there is Niger and Mali. From the west, there is Mauritania, Western Sahara, and Morocco. GDP 2022. World ranking for Algeria. According to estimates by the CEO World Magazine, Algeria GDP for this year 2022 should stand at $193 billion. This is an increase of 14.88 compared to last year when Algeria GDP in 2021 was $167.98 billion, source World Bank. With this value, Algeria ranked 58 in the world. In Africa, with a GDP of 193 billion USD, Algeria is in the top 10 African most powerful economies. It occupies fourth place in the ranking behind Nigeria with a GDP of 510 billion, Egypt 435 billion, and South Africa 426 billion. The other countries in the top 10 are Morocco, Angola, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Ghana. In MENA zone, the Algerian economy also ranks relatively high among the countries of the MENA region, North Africa and Middle East. Algeria has the sixth highest GDP in the area. It is overtaken by five oil-rich Gulf nations: Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Iraq, and Qatar. If we liberalize the mining sector, Algeria will export $150 billion in 2030, as per Dr. Ali Ifaifi. Sector overview. With 44 million inhabitants, Algeria is the largest and one of the richest countries in Africa. The Algerian economy is heavily dependent on revenues from hydrocarbons, and this sector is the ministry of the Algerian economy. Algeria remains mainly underexplored with regard to mineral deposits other than hydrocarbons. The country has a huge untapped potential for several minerals, including iron ore, phosphate, gold, copper, zinc, lead, marble, bentonite, barite, manganese, wolframite, and other useful minerals. Most of the country's mining potential, including minerals and rare earth elements, is not yet satisfactorily assessed. The authorities are need to develop the industry not only to boost mineral production but also to supply raw materials to a range of emerging industry as part of the effort to diversify the economy, so that it no longer depends to such a large extent on the production of hydrocarbons. The sector is mainly controlled by state-owned industrial mining groups, which lead the development, exploration, operation, and distribution of all non-hydrocarbon mineral resources in Algeria. Mining contributed 0.2% of GDP in 2018. In total, 90.8% of gross output is generated by the public sector, while the private sector accounts for 9.2%. The main mining provinces are Tbilisi, Sétif, Bijaya, Indifla, Tindouf, and Tamarast. 269 million in minerals and metals exports in 2018. Phosphate, cement, salt 55%, and processed iron and steel 26%, precious metal 6%, iron and steel articles 6%, and lead, zinc, aluminium, copper, nickel, and tin in smaller quantities. 6 billion of minerals and metals imports in 2018. Iron and steel articles 39%, and processed iron and steel 38%, aluminium 12%, copper and copper articles 7%, and salt, other minerals, zinc, and precious metals in smaller quantities. 311 million of machinery imports in 2018. Power shovels and excavator 43%. Backhoe loads 20%. Bulldozers 13%. And others surveying or drilling machines, rock cutters, and earth moving machines. Production and operation. Iron ore and phosphate rock are currently the only minerals that are being mined on large scale in the country. Iron ore. The main iron ore mines in operation in the country are located in the province of Tbilisi, in eastern Algeria, which contains total deposits of around 60 million tons. In July 2020, the Algerian president asked to start mining Rajbilat, the country's largest known iron ore deposit located in the southeast, to compensate for the lowest revenue from oil and gas exports. The Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arkab, has given at the end of July the kickoff of the operation works on Rajbilat West Mine, which should produce 2 to 3 million tons of iron ore per year in the first phase, 2022 to 2025, to reach 40 to 50 million tons year from 2026. Phosphate. Algeria's phosphate deposits are estimated at around 2 billion tons, while current production is around 1.5 million tons per year. Algeria was the sixth largest exporter of phosphate in 2018 for a total of 120 million USD, or less than 5% of its world exports. Zinc and lead. Algeria's zinc potential at West Amizor in the province of Bijaya, in the east of the country, could make Algeria one of the world's leading producers of this metal. It is estimated that the project could produce up to 135,000 tons of zinc and 25,000 tons of lead annually. Gold. The Amesmes gold mine in Tamaras, far south of Algeria, should contain 40 tons of gold at a depth of 400 meters. Manganese. The Jebel Vertara manganese deposit in Beshar in western southern Algeria is estimated at around 3 million tons. The country produces smaller quantity of various industrial minerals such as barytes, bentonite, clay, kaolin, diatomite, dolomite, gypsum, lime, perlite, rhyolite, sulfur, and stuff. Power generation market in Algeria. We have total power plants in operation in Algeria 65, divided in renewable 20 and fossil 45. As the vision of Algeria to switch and to change from oil and gas to renewable energy, if we can see here, the power plants in Algeria are 16. Mainly 16 are renewable. Both geographic cards show power plants under operation and power plants planned. I will let you see and discover Algeria potential in power generation and renewable energy in the next video.
Algeria announced the transition of its energy from hydrocarbons to renewable energy. This was a very ballsy move given that Algeria generates almost all its power from hydrocarbon resources. During the last decade, the market price of crude oil has fallen down drastically, and up to this date its price is still fluctuating. This has severely affected the national economy, and with the absence of significant oil discoveries, the government has been left with a stark choice to either push a bold renewable energy agenda or consume its oil and gas export revenues. And of course, the former option was the obvious choice, and hence the birth of the Algerian Renewable Energy Program. The Algeria Program on Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency established the ambitious goal of deriving 40% of electricity production from renewable energy sources, RES, by 2030. The project is divided into lots of 50 to 200 megawatts each. The goal is to attract independent power producers, IPPs, to develop renewable energy resources, the most abundant of which is solar. For these projects, Algeria welcomes foreign investment, and it has revised a number of regulations to encourage it, including allowing foreign entities to own a majority stake. Investors must, however, meet some local content requirements, including using equipment manufactured locally, largely solar panel and assembly structures. There are numerous factories producing solar panels in Bakarana Industrial Zone and the province of Ouagla to meet the rising demand. The national plan aimed to add 22 gigawatts of renewables over the 2015-2030 period, with the first 4,500 megawatt commissioned by 2020. The bulk of this new capacity was to come from solar photovoltaic system, producing 13,575 megawatts, followed by wind power, producing 5,010 megawatts, concentrated solar power systems, producing 2,000 megawatts, biomass amounting to 1,000 megawatts, combined heat and power systems, producing 400 megawatts, and finally geothermal producing 15 megawatts. Algeria's renewable energy potential is enormous, mostly focused on solar, and in order for the above figures to be achieved, some 60 solar photovoltaic plants, concentrated solar power plants and wind farms, as well as hybrid power plants were planned. Because of its location in the Sahara Desert, Algeria's solar potential is incredibly huge, estimated to be as high as 14 terawatt-hour per year. Algeria's Sonatrach and Eni, the Italian oil and gas company, jointly built a 10-megawatt solar plant in 2017. Sonatrach's 2030 vision calls for the installation of 1.3 gigawatts of solar generation capacity at the company's oil and gas sites, mainly to cover electricity needs on energy production sites. One of the world's first hybrid power stations was constructed at Hassi Armel. It combines a concentrated solar power array covering over 180,000 meters, in association with a gas turbine and steam cycle plant, using natural gas as well as solar-generated steam. The plant started electricity production in June 2011. Algeria also has over 13 hydropower plants, and these represent its third largest energy resource after natural gas and oil. Most of Algeria's hydropower plants are located in the northern parts of the country that benefit from high levels of rainfall, and therefore high water levels in the dams. Algeria has startling wind energy and geothermal potential as well. Its wind potential is forecast to be about 35 terawatts-hour per year. Algeria's first wind farm was built at Adrar, with an installed capacity of 10 megawatts, and with funding from the state utility Somgas. A series of thermal springs in north-central Algeria in locations such as Wassanis, Biban, and Kabylie are very potential sites for geothermal plants. Progress on the Algerian Renewable Energy Program is slow in coming. Power targets set for 2020 were not met, and the program fell short of their target by very high percentages. Solar photovoltaic energy uses photovoltaic modules to convert energy from the sun into electricity. Solar photovoltaic energy contributes 2.8% of the total global energy. Hence, it has become the world's fastest-growing renewable energy technology and is the most expanded and competitive in the power generation market. With 22 solar generation stations installed in Algeria in 2020, only 400 megawatts of energy could be produced. and hence only a 13.33% achieved on their initial target of 3,000 megawatts. Hydropower is energy obtained from moving water. In most cases, it's falling water. Hydropower plays an important role in renewable energy and global energy production. The investment in large hydropower plants has been accompanied by an obvious increase in world energy consumption through an increase in demand over the last 10 years. Algeria has a total of 13 dams, as earlier mentioned, with a capacity of 269 megawatts. But due to water shortages, the country started to cease all hydropower generation station operations in phases, while devoting efforts to dams for water and irrigation purposes. Wind energy generating systems use kinetic energy from the wind to turn turbines for power generation. Initially, there were 7 wind energy generation plants planned for complete construction in Algeria by 2021. However, only one plant has been developed and is operational. Wind energy generation dropped by 47.4% from 19 gigawatts hour in 2017 to 10 gigawatts hour in 2018. Although the wind generation target in the country is 3,000 megawatts by 2030, no news or information has been made available by the government or renewable energy companies as regards wind power projects in the near future. Geothermal is a technology that harnesses heat from beneath the Earth's surface. The estimated geothermal reserve could supply the entire world for around 217 million years. Algeria's Renewable Energy Development Center established a geothermal center in Ceuta for the research and development of geothermal power generation. The country has a geothermal generation target of only 15 megawatts by 2030. Currently, there are no planned projects in the search and development of geothermal power generation in the country. Biopower includes solid biomass, liquid biofuels, biogas, and landfill gas. Biopower has also been shown to produce high greenhouse gas emissions, but at levels less than fossil fuels. Algeria's Renewable Energy Development Center established a biopower research and development facility in the Old Fayet landfill. The target for biopower generation in the country is 1 gigawatts by 2030. Currently, there is no biopower generation in the country. The renewable energy project also aimed to improve the country's social, economic, and environmental development. The project has an immense potential for creating new jobs, agricultural improvements, municipal water supplies, and low-carbon development. For the education sector, the government announced the development of an executive decree on the establishment of an educational institution to train renewable energy and sustainable development professionals. Moreover, diversification of energy mix offers multiple benefits, including job creation and energy security, which is further promulgating the renewable energy market in the country. However, factors such as delay in governmental approval for the new projects, policy uncertainty, and lack of an efficient regulatory framework have hindered the growth of the market in the country. Solar energy is expected to be the largest market during the forecast period, with continuous growth in solar photovoltaic cell installations in the country in previous years. Algeria is very much vulnerable to climate change, considering the vast amounts of greenhouse gas emissions perpetrated by them in previous decades, and the fact that over 90% of their electrical energy comes from natural gas and crude oil. This therefore demands for decreased use of fossil fuel. Hence, the government is planning to increase the share of renewables in energy generation in coming years, creating ample opportunity for the market players. The Algeria renewable energy is moderately consolidated. Algeria really has come a long way, and still has a long way to go.
Gera Jebelet in western Algeria is one of the world's most important iron ore deposits. It was discovered in 1952 and has an estimated reserve of over 2 billion tons of mineral wealth, iron grading over 50%. Ferrol, Algeria's national iron and steel company, has reached an agreement with the Chinese company Sinosteel Equipment and Engineering Co., Limited to conduct pre-feasibility and feasibility studies on the development of the Gera Jebelet iron ore deposit. According to preliminary estimates, the project could cost more than $2 billion. The project includes the design of the processing plants, as well as all necessary infrastructure for the transportation of materials and products, as well as the supply of water and energy, all while taking into account the mine's remote location. The recovery of this iron ore is both strategic and challenging, and it should be noted that by establishing a production platform of international proportions, Algeria will position itself as a leader on a continental scale. Algeria's truck project is a $6 billion joint venture with China to develop a phosphate plant in the country. The Algerian-Chinese partnership will see the phosphate plant developed in Basset, eastern Algeria. The plant is expected to begin operations by the end of 2022, creating over 3,000 jobs. The project proposes to increase the annual output of the phosphate mine in Tebessa's eastern region from 1 million to 10 million tons. Algeria, which has the world's third largest phosphate reserves, plans to increase its phosphate production from 2 million tons per year to 30 million tons per year by 2030, establishing it as a major exporter of phosphate-based fertilizers. Thank you for watching.